to the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new mindset. We launch into new relationships. We launch into new territory. Come on, let's go on this launch together today. So, today I am excited because I have a phenomenal lady who is joining us today to have an awesome conversation about business, wealth, and getting your own. How about that? You want to do that? Anybody thought about having their own business and building up your own wealth and doing what you got to do for you and not somebody else but for you? And so we have Linda Spencer Kirkwood. She is going to join us today for this conversation. She is the Senior Associate for Pinnicle Elite Leadership. And I have had the pleasure of speaking with her and talking with her. And now you are going to have the pleasure of meeting her and getting all the information you can in this 30-minute segment. So come on, let's bring Linda in so we can start this talk. Hey, Linda, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm awesome, and I'm so excited that you are joining us today for this conversation about how we build our wealth. And I know that you know that that is something that is important to each and every one of us because you have a goal. But before we get to that, how about you just introduce yourself to everyone that's watching today?
Well, I would love to do that. My name is Linda Spencer Kirkwood, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for thinking of me as you're launching and as you're talking about something that's very dear to me. For the past 30 years, I've been helping families. I've done everything from helping families as far as growing spiritually, emotionally, and now I have this awesome job of taking on the task of enriching families financially as far as helping them build a strong foundation. And I'm excited. I love what I do. In Chicago, when I was like 16 or 17, I received a grant, did my first after school program. I was super excited. It went over into a summer school camp and it was hundreds of kids and I was super excited. But I realized that I can only help families so much without helping. Like I could help the children, but I had to help the entire family in order for there to really be success. And the programs have to last a lot longer than just a year or two. So then came the issue of funding and things like that. So it was at that point that I realized, hey, we have to build it. It has to grow. And I did everything from grants to programs, all that great stuff. And then I realized, guess what? It's not enough. Funding has to be there. Development has to be there. There has to be a united front. And in order to do that, you have to start at the foundation. And that's where I am today. I'm building strong foundations.
And it sounds like that foundation is family, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So we're building families.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
You started with the children. So starting with the children, you saw, right? Because, I mean, isn't that the way that we usually get into the families in the first place, right? We usually meet a child like it's in a program or at school or at a recreation center or something, or a child just is in some kind of need, or at church. Usually it's at the churches, right? They come to church, or the parents send them to church. When did we stop coming to church as a family and we just send? Okay, that's a whole nother topic. We're not going to talk about
that's... I thought
That's a whole nother topic. Go ahead. You got something.
We're supposed to stay on this topic.
But listen, that's how, that's how you started. You started in ministry. You started in working with children, and you saw the need for not just the child, but you saw the need for the family. And, you know, in working in that, you built this whole thing to get into and to work with families. And so what was your driver? What was your driver to not to do the business, but to work with, to really have a heart to work and to build families again? That's a loaded question, and I know it is.
You really went there. Okay. All right. You didn't make it easy at all, did you? Well, I will say that this has always been my drive, and it really came to home. I relocated to Texas because I was originally in Chicago. That's what Chicago, born and raised, and I spent some time in Alabama. Well, I moved to Texas, and I came in contact with this great supervisor, and he understood everything I was going through, raising 9 children and things like that. And he was like, hey, my mother was in that situation. The only thing that you can do really is to work and to make you have more money. And so I found myself doing just that. I found myself working constantly. And I'm like, man, my children would kind of lay across my lap while I was sleeping. Then I would have to get up and go to work. And then I was paying people to take them here and take them there. And I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, which is work. Work 2 and 3 jobs. And at one point I was at 3 jobs. And so I just had enough to pay the bills and everything. But then I was paying someone to drop me off. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. This isn't working. And so
the work isn't working.
The work isn't working. The work isn't working. And so he shared with me, he said, in order for you to get where you need to go, you're going to have to get past that gap. And I said, well, what gap are you talking about? He said, the gap. And I said, what? He said, because you'll always be at this place where you make just enough. Too much to get help, but not enough to live. And it's a gap. And so he calls it a gap. I call it the in-between.
Okay.
And so when I came in contact with this current model that I'm working with now, I realized this is the in-between. This is how families from that space where you make too much to get help to the space of I'm not just making enough to live, but now we're thriving.
Yeah.
That's different. Because even your mindset, when you're on survival mode, when you're striving, everything is a bomb. But when you're thriving, there's more peace, but there's also more clarity in your mindset. You begin to eat healthier. You begin to make wise decisions about who you're in contact with and who you're around and what your community looks like. It's like once you're thriving, then it's like, oh, okay, well, let me see all these other different things.
Right.
And that's what happened. And it was like, this is it.
Yeah, because, and the other thing is, it's not even only that, because the work wasn't working, right? Because you're working so much to take care of, you said 9 children?
9. I have 9 children.
Okay. To take care of 9 children, 3 jobs, to take care. But listen, we know people who have 1 job and have 3 jobs, and they're trying to make it work, and the work isn't working. Right? And so, and then we're doing all this work to make a better life and provide for our child or our children or provide for our household. But the provide of the household is still missing because it's not just the financial gap, but it's also the time gap. It's the time gap of spending with the children. It's the time gap of nurturing them. It's the time gap of, just being there, doing homework, doing, like you said, doing meals, things like that. Like, it's not just a financial gap. But when that is there and we can't fulfill that, we can't fulfill the things in raising our children, which builds the family, which is what? The foundation of everything.
Exactly. But see, that's the whole thing right there. Once you realize that we're sacrificing one for the other. But what we don't realize is that there is a system out there that's been set up that does not force you to choose. The only difference is that not only is it a lack of finances as far as that portion of wealth, but now it's the lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's the knowledge wealth that we're missing. It's the strategies that we're missing. It's the plan of action. We've been
Right.
given one plan, that one plan of, you go, you finish high school, you go to college, you get your loans in college, and then you graduate college, and you get the house and the career and the car, and you start the family. Nobody tells you that 40 years down the road you're going to retire
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
after working 40 years with only 40% of your income, and then
Yeah.
you're going to have to pay 40% of that in taxes. Nobody tells you that part.
What does
So
that?
you still end up scraping, and you still end up at Walmart, basically.
And this is true.
So,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Yep.
real. So now our question is, how do we get to the place where we're starting our families off on a solid foundation, but we're teaching and training not just ourselves, but now we're teaching and training our children. We're giving them the wisdom and knowledge needed so that whatever wealth we build, we're
Mm-hmm.
leaving it for them, but now they know how to handle the wealth. They know how to build it. They know how to maintain it. And if they happen to lose it, guess what? They now have the knowledge to what? Build it right
Build
back
it
up
back up.
again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's And it's like, where do we find it? Where do we find it? I found it.
You
And I'm
found it.
excited because that's what I
And
do.
I'm glad that you found the business. But I have another question for you. And my
Go for
question
it.
is, where did you find the courage? Where did you find the courage to step out of doing what we've always been told and taught to do something different, and to take that step of different, to do different, to be different, to get different? Where did you find, because I think, knowing about these things is one thing, but having the courage to step out and do it, what made you find that courage within yourself? How did you find that courage in yourself in order to do that?
Well, I have to say that I don't believe that it was necessarily 100% fighting the courage within myself. At one point, it was a decision that if I want things to change, if I want life to get better for myself and for my children, it's not a matter of courage at this point. It's a need. And so
Mm-hmm.
the same energy that I was putting towards working for other people and building and going, I said, you know what? This isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working.
Right.
So now I need to go this route and I need to build it. But the same entrepreneurial spirit is what's required when you start, businesses, like when you're selling products or you're starting a
Right.
company where you're cooking and things like that. The other end of it is, where's your support? I have an awesome support system in the people that I'm with. When I talk about, or when we mention Pinnacle Elite Leadership Development, it's not just one person, it's a whole family of people that want to see you win. So
Mm-hmm.
where I didn't have the courage, but I knew I had to make the decision, I was borrowing their courage. I was
Oh,
borrowing
yes.
their belief in me. I'm borrowing it
Yeah.
until working with me, and I'm like, yeah, this is it, this is it.
This is it.
Because a lot of times, especially when it's new stuff, we're afraid. We're like,
Yep. We're
no one's
afraid.
listening,
Yep. Yep.
no
And
one's
so
gonna listen.
I'm so glad that you found the courage, and I'm so glad that you're going to share with us what you found the courage to do. But right now, we're going to take a short commercial break, and on the other side, we are going to hear about Pinnacle Elite. We'll be right back.
You can join us virtually or at the church, located at 458 East Rittenhouse Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Welcome back. So we are talking to Linda Spencer Kirkwood, about Pinnacle Elite. And we just talked to her about how she found her courage by borrowing team courage. Yes. And how they introduced her to this system. And sometimes it sounds like she didn't have the courage, but she borrowed some of their courage. And now her courage, she's loaning out to other people. So we're going to bring Linda back in. Yes. So we can talk about Pinnacle Elite Leadership and what you all do and how you get there. So tell us about it, Linda.
Okay, so my son, it started with my oldest son. He was in Tennessee, and he was like, "Hey, Mom, you ought to check this out." And I was like, "Really? Okay." He said, "It's what you've been looking for the past 10 years." I said, "All right, let's go." And I came in contact with this great team of people, and it's Pinnacle Elite Leadership Development, and they showed me all these great nuggets. And I'm like, where's this information being? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This is it. And so I'm freaking out. My son's like, wow, Mom, calm down. I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. Do you understand? This will change everything. And he's like cracking up laughing at me now because he's like, Mom is so funny. Right, he's so animated. Right. With him. And so,
which we are, right.
I mean, right. It's what we do. It's what we do. And so I was like, all right, well, here it is. You know, they taught me financial strategies. And that's what Pinnacle Elite Leadership Development is. We have found a way to get the strategies, or to take the strategies that the wealthy use, and we are now bringing it to the middle class. We're bringing it to the 95% of people who are not sitting at the 1% of the wealthy table.
Okay.
And I know you're like, hey, that's got to be something. Well, we've already been given, you know, you're supposed to take out the school loan, you're supposed to work, you're supposed to this, and all these other avenues. And for some people, that's fine. At the same time, that's not working.
Yeah.
If it was working, we would not have went through the pandemic where everybody was like ripped upside down or flipped upside down. So clearly something has changed. And what I found in working with this particular group is that as we're building, as we're sitting down with families and we're going through strategies and saying, okay, what is your vision? What is your goal for your family? What does retirement look like? You know, are you guys traveling? A lot of people, when they retire, retirement is not traveling.
It's not.
Retirement is, I want to tutor.
Yeah.
I want to write curriculum for a school. I want to go out there and open up a shelter.
Yes.
Retirement is not a number. It's not an age. Right. It's just the ability to do your passion. And so at that point, it becomes, okay, how can we help you do it?
The ability.
We're giving
wait, stop.
What?
The ability to do your passion. And exactly. So I don't mean to cut you off, but that right there, because a lot of us are working the work in order to work, to get to work our passion. How do we do that?
Exactly. So it starts with sitting down and saying, hey, look, this is where I am. Because the biggest obstacle when we work with people is helping them understand that the system they have in place is not a perfect system.
Right.
And there's a better system. Right. And so when we sit down and we're asking those questions, a lot of times we want to retire, we want to get to that place, but we honestly have no idea how to do it.
No.
The closest thing we get to retirement is when we get a job and someone says, hey, congratulations, you have a 401k, you have all these benefits, sign the paper.
Yes.
No explanation at all. and if they gave us one, we would not know the questions to ask.
No.
We're just happy we're employed. Hey, I'm just glad I got a job. Well, we decided, let's change the game, because now, in order for you to really get to where you are completely fulfilled, where you're meeting your passion, where you're going out there and you're excited about your future, you have to know what your future looks like. So part of our leadership development is now saying, hey, let's work with you from the beginning. Tell me your vision, tell me your goal. What do you want to do when you retire? Now, as we're building it, let's see what you have in place already and how we can bring strategies to build on that. Because there are tax strategies, there are investment strategies, there are so many different ways to get you where you're going, but we only know the ones that are presented by our companies.
Right.
Well, our company, they're usually going to present a strategy that benefits the company,
Right.
not
me.
you. Not you.
Right.
So they're not going to say, hey, you should go out there and look for this strategy and go for it. They're not going to tell you that. Of course not. So our goal, our mission, our vision is to get with the million families and say, hey, for every family we sit down with, we want you to retire with $1 million.
Okay.
Tax free, no fees.
All yours.
You don't pay us.
Okay.
And you're like, wait a minute, what? No, you don't pay us. What we do is free. And they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean it's free?
Come
There's
on.
no way.
No.
When we sit down with the family, our goal is to bring financial education to the forefront, period. Everything else is your decision. It's what you want to do. And it's only us sitting down, bringing you all the tools that are accessible to you. See, now I'm not the person that's sitting there saying, hey, great, congratulations, you started at this job. Here. Now I'm
Right.
saying, what is your vision?
Mm-hmm.
What is your goal?
Right.
What is your
Right.
dream?
Yeah.
Okay. How long do you want to wait to achieve it? 10
I
years?
want it tomorrow.
Oh. I know, right? I know, right?
Right.
And then I'll say, let's see how we can make that happen. Because at the end of the day, you want somebody that's going to be very real with you, that's going to
Yes.
ask you those hard questions, that's going to challenge. Because it's not until you're challenged that you're able to really bring out the greatness in you. I mean, think about it. How are diamonds formed? It's all that pressure. Well, you're not going to get the diamond if there's no pressure applied. So
And that
our
makes
job
sense.
is to say, hey, what
Right.
do you want?
So let
So
me
we're
ask
gonna
you this.
ask-
What makes Pinnacle Elite different? What makes you all different from the other companies that are out there that are teaching financial strategies and leadership? What makes you different?
I can honestly say
Uh-huh.
that the team that I'm with, the people that I'm with on a regular basis, they want to see you win. They want to see not just you win, but your family win. When we're around, we're not around just to have you at the table. We're around for the rest of your life. We're around for the life of your children. We're around
Okay.
for the life of your grandchildren. We're here. Welcome.
All the
This is
time.
us.
Don't go nowhere.
Like if something happens, birthdays, hey,
Hey.
wedding, all right.
All right.
Bar mitzvahs, watch out now. It's whatever. We're here for all of that.
Right.
And
We're here to
the
celebrate
best
with you.
example Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the best example I can give you is when Texas was going through that little patch where we didn't have power,
Yes.
right? Even though we are in business for ourselves, we're not in business by ourselves.
Okay.
So the team in Texas that was going through those hard times,
Mm-hmm.
our other team members, our other partners in different states across the U.S., they were literally contacting us. Is everything
Wow.
okay? Do you guys need anything? They were picking up our appointments and running them, not
Wow.
so that they could get paid, but so that we would not miss a beat in building our business.
That's
When you are a part of a group of people that are like, we all want to win together, where
Mhm.
they're pushing you up and pulling you up, and everybody's like, hey, we're only as strong as our weakest link.
That's right.
Everybody wins.
Right.
That's a different place to be. And then the mindset, the culture shifts. And now you're like, wait a minute. Now, I'm not going to lie. At first, you're kind of scared. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's up? What's
You
up
what?
with this? Right. Yeah.
Right. Because it's the exact opposite of corporate America. It's like, are you kidding
It
me?
is.
You want me to do what? Yes.
Right.
We want you to. What is your goal? So when
Mhm.
you want to give up, you're like, didn't you
Right.
say you wanted to put 3 children through college?
Right.
Well, let's
Exactly.
go.
Let's do it.
So
How many states?
mine
How many states
is
is the network in? How many states?
oh, we're actually in all 50 states, Canada and Puerto Rico.
Wow. Wow. And so it is a huge network. It's a huge connection. It's a huge family.
Yes.
Right? It's a huge family. And it sounds like one of the family members has something amazing that is happening. And I want you to share what is going on with this family member.
Well, this family member in particular that is currently located in Houston,
Yes.
Texas, I am opening up a Houston, Texas office. It is my first office. I'm super excited.
Yes.
But the whole goal is to get everybody on board and to
Yes.
say, hey, this is a family event. Money is a family affair.
Yes.
It makes
Yes, it
the
is.
conversation of money normal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having it. We're having the conversation. And nobody's
Let's have it.
freaking out.
Right.
Like nobody's like, oh my goodness, not the money. No, it's nothing like that. Everybody breathe.
It's an easy
Everybody
conversation. It's an easy conversation.
Oh.
So, Linda, we're coming up on time. So I want to ask you, how can the people get in contact with you so that they can be a part of this great connection, this great network, and this great company?
Absolutely. I am on Facebook, but even more so, let me give you my website. It is www.wfgconnects.com/Linda Spencer Kirkwood. And at the same time, you're more than welcome to give me a call. My number is 832-752-6864. And we just welcome you. Hey, call us, text us, email, whatever you want to do, we'll reach out. We love to help.
I am so excited that we had this conversation today. Thank you for joining us on the Pastor Chira Show. This is truly ministry, building family. That's what we do. That's who we are. That's what we do. We're here for families. And I'm so glad that you have this service. And I thank each and every one of you for joining us for the Pastor Chira Show on today. I pray that you have received something so that you can get off of the wheel. The work isn't working, so let's work different. This is the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and I'll see you next week.